Welcome back. This is Dr. Phil Rosori, and this is lecture 6 in our series, Core Concepts in Global Health for Village Hope Care International. For those of you who are new to the program, what basically we've done is I'm putting on my core course in global health as part of an open source movement so that anybody anywheres in the world that has internet connectivity can actually view what we're talking about in Kenya, what we're doing in Kenya, and what I basically teach both in the United States and into Kenya. Again, it is targeted to our own staff, number one in Kenya, also to the nurses and physicians that come to Kenya to volunteer with us, and also to some presentations I've done at Stanford Medical School, so that medical students, if they're interested, at their own time, can actually take this course on their own. Now today, we have a very important topic. And the topic that we are going to confront today is fundraising and grant writing. And basically, what's going on with this course is that this is happening in real time. So I was challenged by our grant writer, who's actually very experienced, as we get ready to write a grant for a major foundation. How do we talk about our program? What do we say? What do we ask for? What have we accomplished? What are the awards that we've won, and how do we talk about those? And how do we talk about our own transparency, authenticity within our organization? Now, for those who are watching this for the first time, I have been involved in this program since the inception of the current program with Village Hope Care International, which started in the year 2000. I have been the medical director of that program. The CEO and founder is Dr. Kajira Mugambi, my good friend and longtime colleague, who first brought me to this village in Africa, or these villages in Africa, in 1987. And if you see the other videos on this course, you will actually be able to meet him and see the exact history. But right now, we're going to focus on grant writing. So for over 35 years, I've been involved in global health, and one of the issues that you always end up with is no matter what you want to do in the developing world, you're going to have to figure out how to fund it. And usually funding it means that you will be writing grants to foundations. So we are in the process of doing that right now. So let's just jump in. And how do you approach a foundation? Well, the number one thing to realize that a foundation who is giving you a grant is basically investing money in you and your program. And that's important because they are investing in a program, but they're also investing in the leadership of that program. And whether that leadership is truly authentic and honest becomes very important, as we're going to see in the grant. But if we start at the beginning, what they're going to be interested in is what is their ROI, return on investment. So in our case, we have a very innovative and successful child maternal health program. So basically, what a foundation is going to want to know, number one, is if they invest in us, number one, what are they investing in, and what is going to be the return? What are they potentially going to get out of it as far as what their view is for health and development in the developing world? So that's extremely important, the return on investment. The other thing is the authenticity, because after 35 years of consulting all around the developing world, there are projects where unfortunately the money really doesn't go where it's supposed to go. So this is frequently what I call the elephant in the room in any conversation with a foundation, but any foundation is going to have confidence in the program and the leadership of that program before it's going to lend that program money. And this is very acceptable due diligence. And when I consult for foundations, that's a very large part of what I do and very, very important. So, well, what do we have and what is the ask? What are we asking a foundation to provide? What we're basically saying is that we have a innovative, unique, prize-winning, and potentially revolutionary way of delivering child and maternal health in the developing world, and that we have an 18-year history of being in these set of villages on Mount Kenya, 5 hours north of Nairobi, and that we have already been peer reviewed. We are looking to expand that program in this new grant. We are looking for a 3 to 5 year grant so we can actually do this particular child maternal health program to the quality level needed so that it can be cloned and moved in to the whole educational system within Kenya. We are now working in one school district with 50,000 children, 200 schools, and we are working not only with the children but all the mothers, and they live in 516 villages. It is historic in Kenya, as the Ministry of Education has told us, and we will go into it in detail. But before we do that, when you make statements like innovative, unique, prize-winning, revolutionary, you need to back those up. And luckily for us, that has happened. We have been peer-reviewed in an international grant award competition that we won in the year 2016. And so let's look at that, and let's look at why we won, and that will be our introduction. And also, it also validates who we are, and that actually somebody has looked at us and agrees, one, with what we're doing, and two, that we actually are implementing this in the field. So, what is that peer review? Well, in 2016, probably 2015, the IDEO.org grant, also from the Amplify.org organization, was then let out to anybody anywhere in the world. It was a competitive grant online, and there would be 5 awards of $100,000 each. There were 430 some applications, including applications from nonprofits much larger than our own. There were also applications from university. Cornell had a program in that competition, as did Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. These are very big names in the field. And when the smoke cleared, Village Hope Care International, the program that you're going to hear about now, won a $100,000 grant award for this innovative and potentially revolutionary child maternal health program. So that was a major step for a small, unheard of organization who was minuscule compared to many of the other competitors. And the one thing I'd like to underline here is the issue of the revolutionary aspects of our program, what they saw and why we're doing it, but also what they saw in our program. And that's basically is that what we're looking for when we're dealing with huge problems in the developing world is true revolutionary systemic change. And there's a lot of talk about changing systems, but yet very few programs really have the potential to change, in this case, how healthcare is delivered, not to hundreds of thousands of people, not to millions of people, but actually to tens of millions of people in a very medically effective and cost-effective way. And what you're going to see in our program is that we are going to then base our child maternal health program, we're going to piggyback it on to an existing system, which is the school systems of Kenya. Now, the educational system in Kenya is massive. I live in the state of California where there's 6.2 million school children, elementary and secondary, and that's a massive system with tens of thousands of schools and hundreds of thousands of teachers. And yet the Kenya school system is twice as big as the California system, as there are 12 million school children right now in Kenya. Now, Kenya is facing a large, massive increase in its population. When I first went to these set of villages in 1987, Kenya had 18 million people. Today, it has 45 million people, and by mid-century 2050, Kenya will be looking at a population of 80 to 90 million people, and half of those will be either under or just reaching reproductive age or under reproductive age. And the school children within Kenya, which is now 12 million, will jump to 20 to 24 million students. So the ability to do these things most medically effective and cost effectively and do it in a revolutionary new form is very important. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to stop here at a nice break point, and then we'll pick up part two of this grant writing and come back where we talk about what have we actually done, what is the history of our organization over the 18 years that we've worked in this area, how did we start, where are we now, and more specifically, exactly what are we doing in the school system that allowed the Sadeo.org grant award to see us as revolutionary and grant us for the award. So we will then come back to part two.